Hi, thanks for watching this briefing. I'm Amber with Tacoma Housing, and I'm going to go over this briefing packet with you. You can follow along on your screen. You also should have been given a briefing packet either through email or through the mail. If you don't have a packet, let me know and I will send you one. What you're receiving is a Housing Choice voucher. The Housing Choice voucher is rental assistance provided by Tacoma Housing Authority. You go out in the community and find a unit. The landlord approves you. The unit passes an inspection. You contribute a portion to the rent. Tacoma Housing contributes a portion of the rent. Combined, the landlord gets the full rent and everybody's happy. This is a list of rental assistance contacts. You are welcome to contact us through the phone or via email. Typically, our offices are open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. However, due to the situation we're in now, our offices are currently closed to the public. You're getting a Housing Choice voucher. It's commonly called Section 8. It's called rental assistance, voucher, housing subsidy. It's all the same thing. It's rental assistance that Tacoma Housing is going to be paying on your behalf. Our responsibilities, Tacoma Housing Authority has determined your family's eligibility. We've issued you a voucher. I'm going to explain the program to you. We're going to approve your tenancy, pay assistance payments to the landlord, make sure the landlord and families comply with the program rules, and inspect your rental unit one time a year so that it passes housing quality standards. Your responsibility is to provide all the information requested by THA, find suitable housing, take care of your housing unit, abide by the terms of your lease, and comply with the family obligations of the program. The landlord's responsibilities are to screen and determine your eligibility and suitability as a renter, comply with fair housing laws, make repairs to your unit and maintain the unit to our HQS standards, comply with the HAP contract between THA and the landlord, collect the family's portion of the rent, security deposit, and any other charges for damages. The landlord will enforce the lease, pay for utilities and services that are agreed in the lease, and they cannot collect side payments from the family or charge more than what has been approved by THA. Your voucher size and term. We issue voucher sizes based on the number of occupants in the unit. We do not base voucher sizes on age or gender. We base voucher sizes on the number of heartbeats in the home. 2 heartbeats equals a 1-bedroom voucher. If you are a family of 2, you will get a 1-bedroom voucher. If you're a family of 3, you would get a 2-bedroom voucher. The chart at the bottom of this page explains the number of people in a family and what size voucher they would be eligible for. The term of your voucher. Right now, you will have 90 days to utilize your voucher. You have 90 days to go out in the community and find a unit and sign a lease. Once you sign a lease, there is no time limit on the program. Your official time on program starts when you sign a lease and we begin paying HAP on your behalf. You do have 90 days to utilize this voucher. If you approach that 90-day mark and you have not utilized this voucher and found a unit, you would want to request an extension for more time. The extension needs to come to us in writing or via email, and it needs to be submitted to us before your voucher expires. When we receive that request, we can determine if you would be eligible for another extension. Choosing where you want to live. This is a document that talks about choosing an area of low poverty concentration, and then choosing your neighborhood, finding a home, and choosing a unit. You are allowed to find your own unit. Housing does not choose the unit for you. You will pick your own unit. You will pick your own landlord. Every landlord has different screening criteria. Just because you have a rental assistance voucher does not mean you're going to be eligible for that rental unit. Every landlord has their own criteria that they're screening for. A landlord is going to screen you for your credit and your rental history. We do not screen for those things. So a landlord is going to do deeper screening than what the housing authority does. So if you have barriers that may prevent you from renting a unit, talk to your caseworker and see if they have some options for you. You may choose a unit anywhere in our jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction covers the city of Tacoma and a 2.5-mile radius. The unit you choose must be within this area. The landlord needs to approve you, and then we need to inspect the unit before you move in. Please do not move into a unit until the inspection has been done. If the unit doesn't pass, you have signed a lease that you are now committed to with potentially no assistance. So please be patient. Let us do our inspection before you move in. When you're shopping for a unit, if you are not confident that that unit is within our jurisdiction, you are welcome to reach out to me via email or call me. Give me a complete address and I can tell you exactly where it's located and if it's in our jurisdiction or not. If it's not in our jurisdiction, we cannot approve it. Applying for a unit. Once you've applied for a unit, you're going to wait to hear from the landlord whether or not they've approved you. The housing authority does not pay screening fees and we do not pay deposits. Once you've identified a unit, we need to complete the approval process. Once a landlord has approved you, we need to inspect the unit before you move in. After this video, we will go through another video explaining the inspection process and the document that goes along with that, which is called the Request for Tenancy Approval. That's the RAFTA. And the RAFTA is what starts our inspection process. Once you've been approved for a unit, you're going to get the RAFTA to the landlord to complete and return to us so we can get an inspection scheduled for that unit. Once we get the RAFTA back from the landlord, provided it is complete, I will submit that inspection paperwork to our inspectors. The inspectors are going to reach out directly to the landlord for access to that unit. They're going to schedule directly with the landlord a date and time. The inspectors will not schedule that with you, and they will not schedule that with me. Your best source of information on when that inspection is going to happen is going to be the landlord. Once we get the paperwork back and it's submitted for an inspection, our inspectors have approximately 5 days to get the inspection done, provided the unit is ready and the landlord responds to our inspector calls. Once it passes an inspection, you are free to sign a lease and move in. How your rent is set. The way we set your rent is you are going to be paying about 28.5% of your income towards rent and utilities. Housing is going to step in and pay the rest up to the appropriate payment standard. After this video, I will go over with you your shopping guide that will go through that with you and make sure that you understand how we are calculating your rent and how much you can rent up to so that you can still rent a unit that's affordable. I don't want you to get into a unit that's too expensive that you can't afford. So we'll go over your shopping guide in a separate call because each shopping guide is individual to each family. All of these pages talks about how we determine your portion of the rent. Please take some time to read through that. I will explain it to you in a one-page format after this. This is your tenancy addendum, and when you sign a lease with the landlord, this tenancy addendum is going to be attached to your lease. This is your copy to have. I would highly recommend you read this. There are other obligations in this tenancy addendum that you need to be aware of. The landlord will also get a copy of this after you sign a lease and before we send them a HAP contract. After you move in and sign a lease, you're going to sign most likely a 1-year lease. After your lease expires, you're welcome to sign a new lease with the landlord or give notice to vacate. For our work-able families, we're going to do a re-exam on your household every 2 years. For our senior disabled families, it will be every 3 years. When it's time to do that re-exam, every 2 or 3 years, you will be mailed a packet in the mail that gives you 10 days to complete and return this packet to us. This packet will have you fill out who's in your household, what your household income is, and you're going to have to attach verification of the income that comes into the home. And you've got to get that paperwork back to us within 10 days. If you don't get it back to us in 10 days, you're going to get some reminder notices. Ultimately, if you don't return the packet to us, we will have to stop paying subsidy on your behalf. If you need help filling out this paperwork, we are happy to help you. Just come to our office or give us a call. We'll help you fill the paperwork out. You are going to be required to have an annual inspection. You're going to get plenty of notice for that inspection. You need to be there for the inspection. If you need to reschedule, that's fine. Give us a call. We can reschedule. But if you are not available for the appointment time, that will be considered a no-show, and you could risk losing your voucher. So please be available for your inspections 1 time a year. You have an obligation in between your recertification times to report changes in your family or income as they happen. If you are adding or removing anybody from your household, or if you are adding or removing income for anybody in your household, whether you are adding child support or you've lost child support, are you receiving Social Security? Did you lose Social Security? Did you switch jobs? Is somebody starting to receive TANF? These are all changes that must be reported to housing. Remember, your rent is based on your income, and if you are not accurately reporting your income, it can come back in a negative way on your household. In between your recertification periods, you are required to report to housing any changes in your family income or family composition. You report those changes online through our website. Our website is listed right there. If you need help, if you need internet access, if you need a computer, whatever you need, you are welcome to come to our office and we can help you. Otherwise, anywhere you can get internet access, you can submit this change. You have to report these changes within 10 days, and then we give you an additional 10 days to get us the verifications. If we don't receive that within 10 days, we're going to deny your change and you will have to start over. Changes to your lease or rent. If your landlord is going to be raising your rent, they have to notify housing 60 days in advance. They also have to notify you, the tenant. Housing will then reach out to you with a letter letting you know that we have approved or denied the rent increase and what the new portions will be. If we've denied a rent increase, you are not allowed to pay that. That is a violation of the program rules. If you don't hear from me about a rent increase that the landlord has given you, please feel free to reach out to me and ask me if I'm aware of it. Usually I am aware of the changes, I just haven't processed them yet. But sometimes I'm not aware of the changes and I have to reach out to the landlord to remind them that they have to give us 60 days notice. Remember, housing will determine the rent breakdown, not the landlord. So if there's a question or a discrepancy on what the landlord is charging you, please reach out to me and let me know so I can work on fixing that. There's information on requesting an inspection. If you need to have a special inspection done of your unit, please let me know and we can work on what we need to do to request that. After your lease expires, you can move, or maybe you don't want to move, but at some point, if you decide to move, whether the landlord gives you notice or you give the landlord notice, please reach out to me as soon as possible so we can start that process. I would like 45 days advance notice. However, I understand that is not always possible. But please contact me before you vacate the unit so that we can get together and update your paperwork, get you a relocation voucher, and a new inspection packet. This is just a list of things that are going to cost you when you move, things to think about, things to save up for before that move. It's very expensive to move, and you may not have any assistance with these things on your next move, so things to consider. But just reach out to me ahead of time and we can go through this together. In the state of Washington, you cannot be denied a voucher or you cannot be denied a rental unit because you have a rental assistance voucher. It is discriminatory to deny you based on having a voucher. A landlord can deny you for other reasons, like your background, your rental history, or your ability to pay the rent, or maybe you don't have enough income. Those are all valid reasons to deny an applicant, but they can't stop you at the door because you have a voucher. These are a list of properties in Tacoma that work with us quite a bit. This is not a list that you are restricted to. You can rent from anybody you want to rent within our jurisdiction. This is more of a getting started list for you. Portability. Portability is where you take your Tacoma voucher to another housing authority. Maybe you want to move to Yakima. Why do you want to move to Yakima? Those are things that we would work out before you make that move. There are some bulleted points here that list what our eligibility requirement is for porting your voucher to another jurisdiction. Read through that. If this is something that applies to your family and you need to move out of our jurisdiction, please let me know ahead of time so we can work through these details before you move. We want to make sure everything is in order before you pack up and move out of our jurisdiction and risk potentially not having assistance on the other end because you didn't meet the qualifications. Let me know ahead of time. We can work through this together. This is a list of housing authorities in the state of Washington, but there are housing authorities across the entire country. So if that's something that applies to you, again, let me know. We'll go through that together. These are your rights and responsibilities. These are our participant obligations. You have already signed this form, but I do like to go over each of these because violation of these rules can cause you to lose your voucher. We don't want that to happen, so we go over them now ahead of time so you're aware. And if you have questions on any of these, please let me know. The number one rule that we have is you must report online within 10 days any changes to your household composition, that's who lives with you, and your household income. So any changes must be reported online within 10 days. You certify that the house or apartment will be your only residence. You will not sublease your assisted unit, and you will not allow anybody to live in your unit that is not on the lease. You must allow Tacoma Housing Authority to perform an HQS inspection 1 time a year. You understand that you must receive approval from THA before allowing anybody to move into your unit, and you must let us know if you're going to be away from your unit more than 30 days. You understand that you must notify THA if a person moves out of your unit. Again, adding or removing people, adding or removing income is all reported online through our website. Number 6, you understand it's your obligation to cooperate in supplying all information needed to determine your eligibility and level of benefits or to verify your true circumstances. I understand I must provide social security cards, birth certificates, and other required documents for household members. Cooperation includes attending pre-scheduled meetings, completing and signing all needed forms. You understand that you may not make additional payments of any kind to the landlord, that housing is not included in the lease and approved by THA, and to do so is considered fraud. You understand that you must comply with all provisions of the lease and not commit any serious or repeated violations. You need to keep your rent and utilities paid. You understand that your mailing address is for the sole use of authorized household members only and may not be used by any other persons. If you are allowing somebody else to get their mail at your unit, that has established residency for somebody we have not authorized. Household members cannot commit fraud, bribery, or any other corrupt or criminal act in connection with any federal housing program. including receiving another housing subsidy for your unit or any other unit under federal, state, or local housing assistance program. This household may not own any deed, title, or claim to the unit. I understand I may not rent from any person related to any member in my household. Household members may not engage in any drug-related criminal activity, alcohol abuse, or violent criminal activity, including threatening, abusive, or violent behavior towards THA personnel or other criminal activity that threatens the health, safety, and right to peaceful enjoyment for other residents. I understand that knowingly supplying false, incomplete, or inaccurate information is punishable under federal or state criminal law. I will also be required to repay assistance overpaid on my behalf and may be terminated from the program. I certify that all the information I provide to THA is true and accurate. I acknowledge that I have received, read, and understand the RHIIP EIV guide that was included in the information that was given to me. Additionally, by signing below, each of my household members over the age of 18 acknowledges that they have read and understand the RHIIP EIV guide. We will go over that guide in a little bit. It is included in this packet for you. The next several pages are your rights regarding an informal hearing procedure, requesting a hearing, and then what to expect during an informal hearing, and some legal resources for you. If there was a situation where you were non-compliant and there was an issue that needed to be resolved, there would be multiple attempts to contact you to resolve that. Ultimately, if things have not changed and the issues are still continuing, it could be grounds for us to forward your file for a review, which could ultimately lead to a termination from the program. You have rights to request hearings to fight for your voucher if we ever were to get in that situation. We would hope you would fight for your voucher. Sometimes there are things we don't know, and we need to hear from you in order to keep you housed. Otherwise, should you not respond to any of our requests, you could jeopardize your voucher and potentially be terminated from the program. There are a list of legal resources to help you through that process if you needed that. If you are a victim of domestic violence, there are some documents in this packet for you. If your family is involved in that situation, please reach out to me. I'll make sure that you get the right documents so that we can get you an emergency voucher issued and you can go wherever you determine is safe for your family. We have a program. It's the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. This is a really great program. I would recommend once you get leased up and housed and settled into a normal routine, reach out to our Community Services Department and see about signing up for this program. It's a way for you to earn some money as you meet some goals that you've established for your family, probably things you're already doing right now. And this is a free program, so just give them a call and figure out if that's something that you'd like to participate in. These are the steps to your new home. You've been given your voucher and your RAFTA, which is the inspection packet. You're going to find a unit, submit the RAFTA to housing so we can get an inspection done. You're going to move in, sign a lease, and then the landlord needs to send me a signed lease so I can work on getting them paid. These supplemental handouts, we're going to go through this section next. This is a list of renters' resources. There is no right or wrong way to find a unit. Any way that you can find a unit is fine as long as it's in our jurisdiction, the landlord approves you, and it passes our inspection. Lots of resources for finding a unit, but any way is fine. There's some resources for landlord-tenant issues and rights. You as a tenant have rights and responsibilities. The landlord also has rights and responsibilities. If you have questions regarding that or concerns, you're welcome to call me, but I am going to refer you back to these resources. This is what they do every day, all day. I don't want to give you wrong information, so I am going to refer you back to these organizations here that can help you. If you think your rights have been violated or you've been discriminated against, there are some more resources at the bottom of this card. This is a document on our EIV system. This is that RHIIP form that I said we would go over. We pull data through a system called Enterprise Income Verification. This is a system that pulls income information from Social Security and the IRS. If you're receiving Social Security or you're working, this report will show all of that activity. This is how we determine what families are eligible for our program and to double check that what the families are reporting for income matches this form. We do not want to give benefits to people who are not eligible for them. So we want to make sure that the people receiving the benefits that we have to offer are going to the families that need them. And this is a report that we will run that will verify the income that you have reported to us. If there's a discrepancy in what this report pulls and what you are reporting to us, you will hear from us so we can figure out what's going on. This is information on fraud, what it is, the impacts of that, how it could affect you, but also on the back, how you can report fraud. Sometimes people are on the program that shouldn't be. Maybe they're failing to report income that we should know about. We want to make sure that we can find these people and determine whether or not they are eligible. You are welcome to make an anonymous report so that an investigation can be started. If your family is a victim of domestic violence, these are the forms that talk about that and your protections, and a document in here for you to fill out to let us know what's happening so that we can issue you a relocation voucher so you can go where it's safe for your family. If you're in that situation, let me know and I will get these forms to you, but you do have copies of them right there. Information on public charge. This is regarding people who apply for green cards and whether they're here in the country on visas and all of that type of those situations. This may or may not apply to your family. If it does, please read this. If you have questions, I would recommend that you reach out to Legal Resources or Northwest Justice to help you answer your questions. Read through this, and if you have questions, and just let me know. This is information on registering to vote. If you're not a registered voter, this is a form you can fill out to become a registered voter. If you're moving, you can use this form to update your address. The rest of this packet, there's two more sections, the HCV briefing handouts. This is going to go through our inspection process and kind of the things that our inspectors are looking for. It's not an exclusive list of what they're looking for. It's just a general overview for you to review to see if a unit you rent is going to pass our inspection. This is a copy of what our inspection paperwork looks like. This is our RAFTA, our request for tenancy approval, and I'm going to go over that in another video in more detail. There's information in here on fair housing and your rights regarding fair housing. There's also contact information to contact fair housing should you think that your rights are being violated or anything like that. If you're a victim of discrimination, again, more information on that and who to reach out if you think you have been discriminated against. How to protect your family from lead in your home if you rent a unit built before 1978 and you have young children. There is a lead disclosure form that you and the landlord will have to fill out, but this is information on lead-based paint in our homes. It's a large pamphlet. This is information on mold and moisture, what it is, how you can prevent it, and what the difference is, whether or not it's a toxic situation. Is it a landlord item that they need to fix? Is it something you can control? You have responsibility in controlling mold as well as the landlord. And on the last page is our briefing acknowledgement form that you attended this briefing. That covers the briefing guide. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them for you. For now, I will send you a link for the next video to watch regarding the inspection process, the RAFTA. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Call me if you need me.